Chris Pratt has faced many cancellation attempts over the years. There are people who hate him due to edgy jokes he's made on social media. There are individuals that dislike him simply because of his faith. And of course, there is a group of people who think that he is simply a bad actor. But now that we have the first Garfield trailer, those same people are trying to cancel him again, demanding that he be fired from the Garfield movie. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So I can't say that I'm all that surprised to see these people upset yet again, but this article says Garfield fans demand Chris Pratt be fired. These people are not Garfield fans, and they clearly are not fans of his work. They simply want to cancel him, and they do not care which franchise he's a part of. I remember all of the outrage surrounding Mario. Now, yes, I will say we were all very skeptical of his voice acting talent and if he would be a good fit in that movie, but obviously it all turned out very well, seeing as the Super Mario Brothers movie has made over $1.4 billion at the box office, and it has shattered video game adaptation records. But we were all still very skeptical, though there were still individuals online who were trying to cancel him, to get him fired, and just calling him all of these terrible things simply because they don't like him. But it says Chris Pratt is set to voice Garfield in a new feature film, but fans of the world's most famous cartoon cat are demanding that the franchise return to its roots. They don't care if the franchise returns to its roots. They care that he gets canceled. They have been trying for years unsuccessfully, and that's not going to change anytime soon. It says the upcoming Garfield movie is set to adapt the Jim Davis cartoon as a CGI family film, and clearly the studio is trying to repeat the success of the recent Super Mario Brothers movie, which also starred Chris Pratt as the voice of an iconic pop culture character. Now, this movie was actually greenlit long ago, so I don't really think that they are trying to repeat the success. I mean, obviously they want to make money. They do want their movie to be as successful, but I don't think that it's going to be, that's for sure. It says the Super Mario Brothers movie grossed over $1.3 billion. It's closer to 1.4 in theaters now, and became the biggest movie ever based on a video game. So it's not all surprising that Sony Pictures feels that the actor might be the secret ingredient it needs for the Garfield movie. I do think that he brings to the table a large fan base. He is a skilled actor, and he just has this certain charm that he brings to almost all of his roles. And honestly, I think that he's very good all around. He was good in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was good in Tomorrow War. I can't wait for the sequel to that to finally release. And we don't know if they're going to do like a Super Mario Brothers movie follow-up, but it is safe to say that if they did, they would most certainly bring him back. It says, though, it turns out that Garfield fans are not nearly as enthused about him playing the lasagna-loving cat, and are not afraid to sound off about it on social media. Now, Inside the Magic posts a lot of pretty good and spot-on articles, but in my opinion, this is not a good one, simply because they are calling them Garfield fans. These are not fans. These are people that are outraged on social media who say, oh, I'm a fan of this time around it's Garfield, but they're actually not. They just want to be taken more seriously. So they say, I'm a Garfield fan, because they want their opinion to actually be listened to, like they have some level of authority on the matter, which is definitely not the case. But there were Twitter users saying things like, Chris Pratt voicing Garfield is horrendous. Bill Murray was so much better. There's so many people better than Chris Pratt. I don't like the father idea. He's got a perfectly good mom or other side cast of characters. I also hate how he looks. It's very odd. I will see it though. So they are basically saying everything about this movie is bad. I hate it all. And while I completely agree that Bill Murray is fantastic, eventually the torch had to be passed to somebody else, and it just seems like, at least for right now, at least in this movie, it is Chris Pratt, and I really don't see an issue with that. There are other people saying they need to stop giving Chris Pratt lead roles because the new Garfield ain't it, chief. At least try to sound different from different other than your actual voice, dude. I miss Bill Murray. Now, we don't know exactly what he was told, but if they went into this and he signed a contract and the creatives told him you have to just talk like yourself, then that's that. There's nothing that he could do. It's not like he was going to, go against what they said and risk potentially being fired because he was being difficult to work with. Like, he might have went into this and they told him, "Oh, you just have to talk like yourself." We don't actually know. Well, yes, I do have a little bit of an issue with movies like this because I can tell an actor's voice and I go, "Oh, it's just Chris Pratt," and I'll always go, "It's Chris Pratt." But at the same time, I understand that, he might have been told you have to voice like this. Garfield movie looks awful, ignoring the fact that Garfield does not seem to act like Garfield at all. Chris Pratt is such a bad casting choice for him. I hate to say it, but Bill Murray captured Garfield far better. Again, we all love Bill Murray, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you eventually had to pass the torch to someone else, and that just happens to be Chris Pratt. They say that Garfield does not seem to act like Garfield at all. We only got a very short trailer that is going over pretty positively. Yes, there are individuals on social media screeching about the voice acting, but I mean, on platforms like YouTube, it's not getting negatively ratioed. People are taking it pretty positively. And of course, I'm sure you all know everything that Chris Pratt has gone through over the years. In February of 2021, Chris Pratt faces cancellation yet again as Twitter users take offense to fake tweets. These people are so desperate to have this man canceled that they had to try to cancel him using fake tweets as the reason why. It's so pathetic. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 star Chris Pratt reveals his Christian faith has helped him find solace every time he is targeted by the cancel culture mob. And boy, did this infuriate the cancel mob even more, because when you start bringing religion into it, especially the Christian faith, there are individuals online who will just call you the most vile things, and they already hated him. But Chris Pratt responds to criticism towards his voice acting with respect. This is a passionate fan base, and it makes sense. He always has the most graceful response possible. Like, he doesn't resort to name calling or insulting. He says things like this, it's a passionate fan base. I completely understand why people are skeptical. I respect you if you don't want to see it. Like, he is just one of the most respectful people in Hollywood, and we definitely know, as we see with, actors and directors who are unfortunately, actively killing our entertainment. The people like the Nia DaCostas, they do not respond in this way, but Chris Pratt does, and I think that it infuriates the cancel mob even more, because not only have they lost time and time again against him, but he always just says, "Yeah, you know what, I completely respect your opinion, and if you don't like it, that's fine. I understand." It is hilarious that these people are still so desperate to try to cancel him, and it is not working. It's not gonna work with Garfield either, but they're still gonna try, and it still just proves how desperate and pathetic they truly are. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.